Welcome back once again. So we will discuss some important technique. So first is before starting protein interaction and other technique, I just want to brief about what I want to tell. So in vivo and in vitro, you have to mind it. Okay. So you can see here कि there are some established approach for monitoring the protein interaction study known as H2 hybrid. H2 hybrid is a technique to know about protein interacting partners. Okay, now this is an in vitro approach. Okay, in vitro techniques, because you have to purify your protein outside the system. So in vivo means you are extracting protein. In vivo you are localizing into a particular, in vivo study is more prominent in comparison to the in vitro studies. Why? Because अगर आप सेल के अंदर दिखा रहे हो यार, मतलब आप क्या कर रहे हो, you are showing it into the system, यानी into the model whatever you are using, whether it is plant or animal. Or in vivo study you are extracting those protein and you are again putting into the yeast system, and you just try to know the interaction studies that these two partners are interacting or not. As like co-immunoprecipitation. So for in vivo, co-immunoprecipitation is most, which is completed a co-IP result usually for individual expertise. In vitro studies जो हम लोग करते हैं वो क्या करते हैं, बाहर करते हैं. ठीक है, यू आर को-आईपी हो गया, पुल डाउन एशे हो गया, है ना, तो को-इम्यूनोप्रेसिपिटेशन हो गया. तो दीज आर इन विट्रो स्टडीज. बट एलसीआई जो हुआ, लुसिफरेज कॉम्प्लीमेंटेशन इमेजिनिंग एसे, बिकॉज दिस एसे यू आर डूइंग इन विवो, सो मोस्ट रिलायबल टेक्निक का होगा जो आप इनटू द सिस्टम दिखाएंगे. बाहर निकाल के आप इंटरेक्टिंग पार्टनर दिखा रहे हैं तो वो बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं है, वो कोई भी कर सकता है. But if you are giving something, you are fluorescent molecule, you are adding some fluorescent molecule and you are trying to show that here is the expression, here protein is interacting. So this is really very important. Okay, so come to the so here ubiquitination, I have already explained you that how ubiquitination is really very important for degrading any protein. Okay, so first of all we want to study LCA-SS. So what you will do, infiltration is really very important to try to understand how infiltration is done. Okay, so this is abaxial surface and this is adaxial surface. So you will infiltrate ना, इधर से लोग अब पीछे से हमेशा हम लोग इन्फिल्ट्रेशन करते हैं वो बैक साइड से करते हैं ताकि वो आराम से मूवमेंट कर सके, ताकि वो transiently express हो सके. So you are doing transient expression, not proper. Okay, you are not you are doing stable transformation, you are just expressing your protein transiently. Okay, into it whatever you are here we are using in this paper they are using Nicotiana benthamiana. Okay, so this is normal tobacco, wild type tobacco. So as you can see here they as they come up with the idea that these proteins are interacting here, when N terminus and C terminus, because it is very important that these two cassettes binary effector system is developed in such a way that one contain N terminus and second contain C terminus. I will explain in detail into the subsequent slide. So dear friend, this is just a short form of LCI, luciferase complementation imagining assay. So what you have to do, you have to express under 35S promoter because this is constitutive. Okay, and what you have taken a X partner. So suppose X protein, you want to know whether X protein is interacting with Y protein or not. So one protein is X terminal, N terminal of Lux system, and one is C terminal of the Lux system, because N and C terminal, this is a control. N terminal of Lux and C terminal of luciferase will interact with each other. So whether if your X protein and Y protein is interacting with each other, then only you can come up with the fluorescence, because one system has your X protein and second one has a Y protein. if X and Y have some sort of interaction, then only in this condition your LCI assay will perform on a cellular, and in vivo study you will come up with the interaction pattern. Okay, so this pattern is only come when X and Y is interacting with each other. So this is a protein-protein interaction study in vivo technique. Okay, so in this what you will do, you will just in vitro protoplast transformation karoge, because you have to transplant with this N-terminus and C-terminus cassette. When cassette with you, then what you will do, you will localize this protein expression into the, this is in vitro protoplast transformation is again a stable transformation, or in this slide, in this slide this is a transient expression, and here in this we are doing stable transformation for the study. So this is protoplast transformation. So so protoplast is transformed for the study. So protoplast transformation is again sort of not you are doing into the stable transformation. किसे कहते हैं? स्टेबल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन का मतलब होता है वन जनरेशन टू द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन वो क्या हो, इनहेरिट हो, बट प्रोटोप्लास्ट आप आइसोलेट कर रहे हो, और दैट प्रोटोप्लास्ट व्हाट you are doing some sort of interaction study, and with this if these two interacting partner is interacting with each other, this if X and Y is able to interact with each other, then fluorescence will come up. Okay, so this is all about LCI. So कैसे इसे हम क्लोन करते हैं, cloning I am not going to discuss how molecular cloning is done. I have already uploaded various videos on that particular topic, how positional cloning is done, how you can express a protein. So basically you can see this one containing the N terminus of luciferase and second containing the C terminus, or C terminus of the luciferase, and this is the MCS site. You will cut here, and this MCS site is here, and on this site what you will do, you will incorporate your gene of interest with suitable set of restriction site. This is the RBS. RBS is a ribosomal binding site, because ribosome have to be there to synthesize your protein of interest. So when your interacting partner here, I have taken from a paper that SPX4 is interacting with the PHR2. So this N terminus of SPX4, because this is X and another is Y. When these two partner is collectively be there, then you can see here that the interaction is there. So this interaction is prominent in phosphate, but this is analog. I am not going to discuss about that paper in detail. I just want to tell you this, you are seeing this pattern is due to the LCI system, and there is a protein expression is there. So this is really very important for in vivo study. So LCI study is really very important for in vivo type of a study, when these two protein are interacting with each other. Come to the next assay. This is called Renilla luciferase assay. Here is only luciferase assay. So in this you are just aware, you have taken N terminus and C terminus. There is a dual system. So I will discuss how we will use. So Renilla luciferase assay is again used for transient gene expression. So one Renilla luciferase is used as an internal control. I will explain how. So before going to the details, we must have to know about the system. This assay system is used to elucidate biological functions such as gene expression study, post-translational modification, and protein-protein interaction into the cell-based system, that is you are doing into the cell. Protoplast is what? This is a cellular system. So dual reporter assay have an additional luciferase named as Renilla luciferase that is used as an internal control reporter, which help to minimize the interference of the experimental variabilities. Let me try to explain what is internal control. some sort of expression is already present in a cell, but you want to reduce that. So for this you have taken a renilla luciferase reporter and you have attached with some sort of that gene which is ubiquitously present into the system. So whenever you are attached the renilla luciferase with an internal control reporter, so you can minimize that all sort of the fluorescence coming from the internal, and the whatever the left molecule left fluorescence is there is your gene expression of that particular interaction partners. So firefly luciferase कितने पे काम करता है? This is the some sort of mentioned maximum क्या है, emissions क्या है, कितने kilodalton की proteins हैं, क्या है, these are the some various parameters about the firefly and renilla luciferase enzyme. Okay, so firefly luciferase is attached with a experimental reporter. मतलब कि जीन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट के साथ आपने luciferase firefly luciferase को आपने अटैच किया. ओके, एंड सम सॉर्ट ऑफ यू आर अटैचिंग renilla luciferase with an internal control promoter. Okay, now both luciferase activity are measured separately. Okay, sequentially from a single extract on the basis of their bioluminescent substrate specificity. Okay, finally the firefly luciferase activity is normalized by the help of the renilla luciferase activity as a promoter activity. So let जो फाइनल प्रोमोटर एक्टिविटी होगा, जो फाइनल प्रोमोटर एक्टिविटी को आप क्या करोगे, फायरफ्लाई लुसिफरेज से डिवाइड कर दोगे रेनिला लुसिफरेज एक्टिविटी. सो जो आपका रिपोर्टर सिस्टम का एक्टिविटी बचेगा वो क्या होगा, प्रोमिनेंट हो जाएगा आपके लिए. सो दिस इज अगेन वेरी सॉर्ट ऑफ वेरी प्रोमिनेंट टेक्निक टू नो द प्रमोटर एक्टिविटी ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर सेट ऑफ द जीन. सो इफ यू वांट टू नो how this gene promoter of the gene is somehow interacting with each other, so this technique is again very important for in vivo study. So this is a transient method to express a protein into a particular set of system. So what you can do, this is the two cassette, one containing the appropriate promoter with firefly luciferase, and second one the reporter vector with a control promoter with renilla luciferase. So this is the total cell extract when firefly luciferin, and this molecule is basically for the renilla luciferase. And whenever the whole activity is there, then what you will do, you will just minus the firefly luciferase activity, you will divide the firefly luciferase activity by the renilla luciferase. Then whatever the final product, whatever final value is the promoter activity of that particular gene. So this again very prominent technique to understand the in vivo transient expression of that particular system. So now come up with some genome editing tools. So dear friend, these are very site specific endonucleases known as meganucleases, ZNF, zinc finger nuclease, TALEN and CRISPR. So CRISPR is very prominent technique for all of us, and we know how CRISPR nowadays is really very important for engineering genome. So genome editing is really very prominent by the help of CRISPR-Cas9. So CRISPR can generate knockout, not knockdown. Knockdown is created by RNAi, because in RNAi you are just reducing the transcript number. Okay, so these are some history, so I am not going to describe. You can just stop it and try to know about this. So CRISPR-Cas9, this is all about the CRISPR-Cas9. Whatever we are using, that is the type 2 system of the CRISPR-Cas9. So CRISPR-Cas9 system have been taken from Streptococcus pyogenes, have been developed as a simple and versatile tool for RNA RNA guided genome editing in a different organism, that the Cas9 mediated RNA guided genome editing a single or a duplex sort of RNA molecule, that is called a gRNA, that is guide RNA, direct the Cas9 to the target the desired DNA, that is the double site, and basically where your guide RNA will bind only to your into the protospacer sequence where your PAM site will be present into the genome. So NGG is a particular sort of NGG is a PAM site where your guide RNA will bind, because PAM sequence is recognized by the guide RNA. So guide RNA will bind there, and what will happen, this there is some sort of double stranded break will be created by your Cas9 system. So Cas9 system will create double stranded break, and due to this your gene will disrupt, and there can be some sort of insertion or deletion, and basically in collection we can say indel. So indel is just deletion, substitution, or addition of some sequences into the genome. So CRISPR-Cas9 is really very important topic of discussion, so I'm not going to discuss a lot. Another technique that is known as RNAi. RNAi is basically involved to inhibit the gene expression by the help of translation or neutralizing the target mRNA molecules. So in CRISPR-Cas9 you are editing genome. In RNA you are targeting mRNA, and you are reducing the endogenous mRNA expression. So in RNAi you can focus on co-suppression, is a way of RNAi mechanism, and post-translational gene silencing is again a way, and quelling. Quelling means kuchalna in Hindi, and to reduce. So whatever the transcript is in normal type will be reduced into the RNAi line. The detailed study of each of these assembly is very entirely different, and so this all over collectively called as RNA interference. This is discovered by Andrew Fire and C.C. Mello. Okay, shared Nobel Prize in the field in 2006 in the field of physiology and medicine. For this, they have worked on cannabinoid elegans, that is C. elegans, and RNAi is very precise and more efficient, and better than antisense technology of gene suppression. So I'm not describing antisense and sense strand technology, because this is again a very important technique for co-suppression or gene suppression, and antisense technology is nowadays is really very important to reduce. And on the basis of antisense technology you have flavor saver tomato. So if you want to know about the flavor saver tomato, you can just Google it out and you will come to know about details about the flavor saver tomato. So these two guys is really very important, and their contribution in RNAi is very important, and that was the paper which is published in the Nature. So before going to details that siRNA and miRNA biogenesis and how these two is very important for fungus. Come with nucleus. This is pri-miRNA. Okay, so this miRNA that will cleaved by DROSA first, that is called a microprocessor. So it will convert into pri-mRNA, and this again cleaved NPC. This is exporting, will export this molecule into outside the environment. Here dicer will act, and this will be spliced out into a short fragment. This is about 24 to 20 to 24 nucleotides in length. So this will loaded onto the agoprotein that is called argonaute, and there is risk complex will form, and where your single passenger strand will be removed from there, and one guide strand will attach there, which will go into the effector pathway and degrade particular sort of your fragments. So this is the main motto of how this miRNA can work. So miRNA is different from siRNA. So because siRNA is exogenous in nature and miRNA is endogenous, because this is present into the system, not it is taken from the outside. These both of the miRNA and siRNA synthesized by the help of RNA polymerase II. So these are some facts which really you have to memorize for your understanding. Okay. So double-stranded RNA is degraded through siRNA. So this is siRNA, because the viral replication के through double-stranded RNA बना, और वो siRNA के through क्या हुआ, degrade हो गया. That is the precursor miRNA, that is endogenous in nature, that will give rise to messenger RNA. Ultimately they will be uploaded onto the RISC complex, and one of the way to protect the genome, that is known as DNA and histone methylation approach. So if histone is methylated, then the genome is not going to function, and that part of protein is not going, that part of the genome is not going to give rise to a particular set of information, that mRNA is not going to be expressed because this is methylated. Or second case, you can degrade that mRNA degradation can be going on. So three major outcomes of RNAi: one, methylation, and second approach is maybe that your messenger RNA will be degraded, and the second and most efficient technique is you can block your translational sites. So if you will block the sites, not due to this, your mRNA is not going to give rise to a particular set of protein. So these three mechanism is really very prominent in RNAi technology, that they will work as like that to block, whether it can perform histone methylation, or it can degrade your mRNA, or translational blockage. So these are the effects. So I have already told. So dear friend, why I have given this slide? Because p bodies पे क्वेश्चन CSR में कई बार आया है. So p bodies is a part of nucleus rather than a cytosol. Okay. So with that note, I just want to tell one other thing, that this study is done for coordination of muscles in the C. elegans. So uncoordinated 22 is a particular gene. When by antisense RNA technology, they want to mutate this. So in antisense technology, the prominent effect is not there. So there is no effect. So C. elegans is doing some sort of the same function, because antisense is not function in that particular way. So what they did, they have created double stranded RNA, and so when this RNA is given exogenously to the C. elegans, then this is uncoordinated to 22, then twitching is there, and the coordination of muscle is lost. So RNAi is really very prominent technique to study gene function, and gene silencing technology is really very important for knocking in of a particular gene. So thank you so much for this part. We will see you soon in the next part with other molecular techniques. Bye, take care, see you soon into the next video.